personal injury law. Jose, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
We do ride-sharing cases, 18-wheeler cases. Obviously, we've done those for very many years. Work injuries. We will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then you need to visit joegomezlaw.com.
We've been around for almost 50 years, and we're not going anywhere.
Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736-4040.
This is Jim Rome. Have a take, don't suck on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. KTFM Floresville.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
In the NBA, Adrian Griffin out in his first season as head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks despite a 30-13 record. Joe Prutney expected to assume as interim head coach. They are eyeing Doc Rivers, according to reports. Baseball Hall of Fame announced Adrian Beltre, former Texas Ranger, among three going in, joining Joe Mauer and Billy Wagner falls just short.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history. A walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge. What's up, gang? Can't stop me now.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. Thanks for joining me. However you may be joining, whether it's on 94.1, sasportstar.com, or via our YouTube channel at sasportstar. Go ahead and like, subscribe, follow along. You can comment along if you'd like. Appreciate everybody already in the stream. And, of course, you can always get at me on X. I am at I Am Pledger on both X and Instagram. You can follow the station at SA Sports Star for all of the latest. Appreciate everybody for jumping in with the show today. And, of course, the phone lines are open if you got something that you want to get off your chest. 210-656-3776. That's 210-656-ESPN. Or, drop a comment in the YouTube live stream. We'll read it there as well. But we'll start off with the unfinished headline about the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, as former San Antonio Mission, former Texas Ranger, Adrian Beltre going in. He's going to be joined by Todd Helton and Joe Mauer. Billy Wagner just missing out. 5 votes short for the former Astros closer as he is about to go into his final year of eligibility on the ballot. So big year next year coming up for Billy Wagner as he tries to get into the Hall of Fame. The weird thing going on it's trying to figure out what happened with Adrian Griffin in Milwaukee, because 30-13, not a bad record. Definitely have been some struggles as Dame and Giannis figured out kind of how to work with each other early and kind of get the whole team in sync, but seemingly playing better basketball now, getting into a groove. And then Adrian Griffin's fired. Joe Prutney is about to take over, and they're reportedly targeting Doc Rivers. So at 30-13, first-year head coach Adrian Griffin is out, and you wonder, what's the call on that? Why is Adrian Griffin? Is it a Dame thing? Is it a Giannis thing? Is it a front office thing? It's going to be interesting to see how. But I bring up his 30-13 record and already being out with the fact that over the last 3 seasons, Greg Popovich has gone 64-143 since the 21-22 season. 64-143. Last year was willful. Oh, by the way, that 64 and 143, he's since become the highest paid coach in the NBA with that record. I don't want to lay it all at the feet of Greg Popovich because let's face it, there are a lot of things that you can equate to what we're seeing. And I think a lot of it revolves around everybody wants to talk about what year of the rebuild we're in. It's year one. It's year one of the rebuild. They tore it to the studs last year. They got Wemby. Mission accomplished. You have one generational talent on your roster. The problem is there was nothing else on that roster. So if you're going to start winning games, you have to add talent to a roster, and a roster that is bereft of talent for the most part as it pertains to the rest of the league. You look at the Charles Bassies, you look at Blake Wesley, Julian Champagnie, Zach Collins. At best, guys that are starting on this roster would be coming off the bench, and other guys wouldn't even be on an NBA roster. They would be in the G League. So I look at what the Spurs have, and they're bereft of talent outside of Wemby for the most part. You can add a Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, Keldon Johnson. They are nice complementary pieces, but there is no other talent on this roster in terms of going out and winning games. So the fact that we went from trying to figure it out in the beginning to figuring out where Wemby fits, now what fits around him, moving Keldon off the bench, putting Trey in the starting line. Since Trey's gone into the starting lineup, this team has performed admirably. And I understand losing by 10 and the thought process of, man, why are we cheering for moral victories? Because this team isn't good. And so you're looking for growth. And the fact that, unlike earlier this season, when you were getting the doors blown off of you, giving up 150 and losing by 30 every night, they're keeping it close against better teams in the league, top teams in the league. They're starting to stack wins against the lesser teams in the league. These are growing steps. And Greg Popovich used to always preach, you can't skip steps. These are part of the steps of growing a young roster. I look at this as trade deadline, offseason, salary cap space. What are you doing with it? Greg Popovich always said he would be nothing if it wasn't for Tim, Tony, Manu, and Park Kawhi. Like, you don't win without talent in this league, and he is right. And they just don't have enough of it to compete. So what are they doing? They're somehow competing with less talent. They have one great piece that they are barely using at more than 25 to 28 minutes a game. He had 33 points in 28 minutes. He is doing things at an absurd level. And if he was playing a regular minutes load, people would be talking about his rookie season in comparisons of some of the greatest of all time. I mean, look at his per minutes. Victor Wembanyama needs help. The question is, where is it going to come from? This is going to have a runway to it, but there are other pieces to this puzzle because it's obviously about the future and not this year. So at the trade deadline, what do? Well, the Portland Trailblazers are reportedly making Robert Williams III available. He is injured, likely out for the season. Does that mean you can get him cheaper and add him to a roster next? He will be more ready to compete with moving forward. These are just options and available scenarios for the Spurs and Brian Wright, because before I lay things on the feet of Greg Popovich, I look at the construction of the roster, and the construction of the roster comes down to the general manager. What say you? 656 ESPN 210-656-3776. The Spurs have stored up a lot of draft capital and equity. How will they use it moving forward? How would you like to see them use it moving forward? We'll discuss that. Plus, speaking of GMs, new GM in the NFL, though not changing divisions. There was a hiring plus some other NFL news, including the latest with the Dallas Cowboys drama, because only in Dallas can things like this happen. And it just encapsulates why they're the most captivating franchise in the NFL that nobody can stop talking about. That's all coming up here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The professional football playoffs are here.
Out of the gun, back to Dak. Left side of the end zone. Touchdown.
14 teams with only one goal in sight. The big game in Las Vegas. Presented by Flight by Yingling. Hear it on your exclusive home. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-583-5795.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading ordinary brand. So you can get back to your night. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Eczema flaring up again? We have good news. Exoderm. If you or someone you love suffers from eczema or dermatitis, get Exoderm, the common sense answer for eczema. This stuff really does work. Exoderm contains the #1 doctor-recommended ingredient in a clean hypoallergenic cream with no harsh additives. Take back control of your eczema with affordable, fast-acting control cream. Exoderm. It's in the first aid aisle of your local Walmart, H-E-B, and other fine stores.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details.
Homeowners, this is not a drill. Do not put off replacing old, broken, drafty windows in your home one more day. Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies, can transform your home, fixing common issues like hot or cold rooms or sky-high energy bills. Renewal by Andersen's Fibrex windows and doors combine the strength and insulation of wood plus the low maintenance and durability of vinyl, guaranteed to never fade, flake, blister, or peel. These are truly your forever windows, backed by Renewal by Andersen's industry-leading warranty coverage. Just text WARM to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for no money down, no payments, and no interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings are only in January. Text WARM to 200-300 right now. Text the word WARM to 200-300. Don't wait. Text WARM to 200-300.
Chance Wilcox lived his life with a kind heart, and anyone would tell you that. But I'll never forget the call that my only son, with so much life ahead of him, had been killed instantly by a distracted driver on her cell phone. The happiness we all had and enjoyed up until that time was gone in 1 second by a 100% preventable action.
Heads up, Texas. Using your phone behind the wheel can be deadly. Talk, text, crash. Brought to you by TxDOT.
This Locked on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate everybody rolling along with me this evening. Texas leads 11th ranked Oklahoma up in Norman 9-7 early in the first quarter. Coming up after Extra Innings with Pleasure, we got Texas A&M basketball because we are your home for the Aggies. They will be taking on Missouri down there in College Station. Tip-off is set for 8 o'clock. It'll all start with the pregame coming up at 7:30 tonight. I look at the NFL, and there is so much that we have to look forward towards. The offseason is going to be incredible because the amount of head coaching vacancies, the amount of general manager vacancies. Panthers filled theirs. Former linebacker Dan Morgan going to take over as the GM there in Carolina. Now we shift our focus to the AFC West. Patrick Mahomes still playing, of course, and everybody's trying to catch them in that division. One of those teams is the Los Angeles Chargers, who fired their head coach and their general manager. Tom Telesco has a job in that division as he was hired by the Las Vegas Raiders, who have their head coach in Antonio Pierce, who went 5-4 down the stretch. I think that's a great hire for the Las Vegas Raiders because, look, Tom Telesco built a very good roster. It was just not. There were a lot of things at play with the Los Angeles Chargers. One of them, never healthy. Part of that can be falling on the staff and their training staff and their medical staff and injury prevention and everything that they do to get that right. The other part of that is you look to the head coach. And I never thought Brandon Staley was it. And now it looks like they are trying their damnedest to get probably the best available head coach in Jim Harbaugh in the building. And I look at Jim Harbaugh with the talent on that roster. He brings his staff. He's going to want state-of-the-art facilities, upgrades to the training staff, and everything that's going to go with it. His assistants. If you're hiring Jim Harbaugh, you are spending money. Not just on him, but everything ancillary surrounding, because he's very aware. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles. They lost both of their jobs. They had to fire both coordinators this year. That's how much of a difference they make. Bobby Slowick is making the rounds right now, going on second interviews. He's got another interview with the Commanders and the Falcons coming up in person with the Commanders. That terrifies me as a Texans fan because what's next? I know Gerard Johnson, the quarterback's coach, is being looked at by the Cleveland Browns and the New Orleans Saints in terms of their offensive coordinator vacancies. What happens if you accidentally lose both? If one goes before the other, say Gerard Johnson goes and gets one of those OC jobs, he was the natural succession plan. Now all of a sudden you lose both in one offseason on a rookie quarterback. That's terrifying because you've seen how much coaching staffs mean to these players, especially when you're talking about a defensive head coach. The offensive side of the ball is its own entity, and that's why you see a lot of coaching hires, despite the success that the few defensive minded staffs are having, whether it is the success in Buffalo behind Sean McDermott, top bowls this year in Tampa Bay, D'Amico Ryans in Houston, what Pete Carroll had done all those years up in Seattle, Jim Harbaugh, who was a special teams coordinator, non-offensive traditional guys, Mike Tomlin, defensive guy, all non-offensive guys. But the trend is to go get, like Tennessee did, the young hot coordinator to pair with a young quarterback, a young franchise quarterback. Will Levis and Callahan. That is the new fit in Tennessee. Ben Johnson's name is extremely hot, white hot. And it was last year as well. It's only gotten hotter with what the Lions have done this year. So it's going to be interesting because there are so many defensive-minded coaches seemingly within these coaching searches. You look at Bill Belichick's name, you look at Dan Quinn's name, you look at Mike Vrabel's name. And if some of these defensive-minded coaches don't land one of these jobs, Antonio Pierce in Las Vegas just landed. Does Dan Quinn come back to Dallas if he doesn't get a job when there are potential other options out there? Say Mike Vrabel doesn't get a job this coaching cycle. Do you run it back, or is that the shake that Jerry makes to the roster? Or are they really hell-bent on running this thing back the way it was? The Cowboys offseason is going to be extremely must-see. Just in terms of we have no clue what they're doing in terms of the grand scheme of things. It makes the most sense to extend Dak Prescott to lower his cap number, but they could also restructure, take that dead cap hit at the end of his deal, lessen it for this year so it's not $60 million, and still have basically him and McCarthy on prove-it deals together. But do you make a quarterback who was an MVP candidate have to prove it? There's a lot of noise circling around the Dallas Cowboys. And, I mean, I was listening to Greeny this morning, and the amount of fervor that came from the family of players over this divisional round weekend was insane.
No one should ever treat any quarterbacks the way his teammates' families are treating Dak Prescott.
Absolutely.
And since you brought it up, I've got just a few more minutes left with you guys. Let me get a take on that. For those who haven't been following this,
wow,
Dak Prescott has been getting summarily criticized. Forget about talk shows. Forget about what. absolutely obliterated on social media by the family members and directly, I mean, very personally, namely Micah Parsons' brother told him on social media, Dak needs to take a team-friendly deal. He said, quote, he needs to take $40 million a year, otherwise pack your bags. And that's how it was written. And CD Lamb's mother, in a post someone sent saying CD should come down to Houston, which is where he's from, she wrote back, that would be great. CJ is awesome, meaning CJ Stroud. And then in all capital letters with multiple exclamation points, she wrote, Dak isn't it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are direct shots at Dak Prescott. Like this, that's not normal, right? Like that's not okay.
And listen,
That's insane to think of. I understand fans in the media being upset, but when you start having family members and of teammates popping off in the media about it, that can't be good for a locker room. The same way Jerry saying we'll see week by week after they had just won the division and clinched the number 2 seed by beating Washington. Well, Mike McCarthy will have to see week to week as the thing goes. You put undue pressure on a team going into a postseason that was already had enough questions and pressure surrounding it of whether they could perform in the moment, and you ratchet it up by doing that. What was the point of what you did, Jerry, other than keeping the Cowboys, which would have probably been anyway, in the A block on shows like First Take and Sports Center and Undisputed and Speak? Like, that's the only reason you would do something like that. Because it makes no sense to have that kind of pressure on a team that is already dealing with enough pressure just because of the logo that's on the side of its helmet. They're going to be talked about regardless, win or lose. I understand, much like Spurs fans who haven't gone through losing because you've never had to, rebuilding's not easy, and you usually can't do it on the fly in 1 year where you just bottom out, get a guy, go back into the postseason and start competing for titles again. Look, 20 years of greatness. It was awesome. 25. And even before that, never really missed the playoffs in consecutive seasons. Never had back-to-back bad years in the franchise's history leading up to this stretch. Cowboys don't need this kind of pressure on a team that is already dealing with enough ancillary pressure from every potential way. And people that want to kick Dak out the door as quickly as they do have a succession plan in place. I have no problem with the fact that you need Dak to prove it. You don't think he's worth the money, whatever it may be. Whatever your reason for wanting Dak gone with the lack of playoff success, even though Dan Quinn's defense allowed 60 against the 7th-seeded Green Bay Packers. Dak is going to take the brunt of it because he's the quarterback of a lot the same way Josh Allen has taken a lot of heat for the Buffalo Bills, although not as much. Josh Allen played a hell of a game. Stephon Diggs drops a ball. He gets hit as he's throwing one as there's a guy open in the end zone. Like, reasons and excuses. They're all the same for all quarterbacks. If you don't win, that's the only metric that matters at the end of the day. And Josh Allen has fallen short when it mattered the most against Patrick Mahomes in recent years. Dak Prescott has fallen short of that moment as well. The problem is 12-5 is not an easy thing to replicate year after year after year after year. So doing that 3 straight years in a row, highly impressive. And Dak Prescott playing an MVP level this year, also highly impressive. You got to look at the competition it was against in a sense, and you can eventually those teams flip the other way, and you have to play better teams week after week after week. But if you throw Dak Prescott out, make sure there's a succession plan in place. Maybe a short extension to lower the cap hit and give yourself time to find the replacement for Dak Prescott. But I can tell you, without a clear path to a franchise quarterback, it is very difficult to find one. The Houston Texans, for the breadth of their entire career, never really had one. Matt Schaub was the closest they came. They finally found one in Deshaun Watson that turned out to be for naught, and happened to stumble into another one with CJ Stroud most recently. That doesn't happen a lot. More likely than not, you're the Jets. You're stumbling over Zach Wilson's and Sam Darnold's. Think about it. At any point in time in your lifetime, have there been more than 12 to 15 great quarterbacks in the NFL? Or was there always about half the league looking to upgrade that position? Dallas, you can look to upgrade it, but the grass isn't always greener on the other side. That's why it's important, like you got lucky when Tony Romo got hurt and you happened to have drafted Dak Prescott that year, to constantly swing and figure out, how can I find the next? How can I find the next? I don't care if it's late round, last round, whatever. It is as big of a lottery ticket in the NFL that you can possibly have. So why would you at least not take some kind of shot at trying to find the next, or at least have trade bait moving forward, which gives you more capital moving forward, which allows you to build your team even stronger. That is the best possible way to handle the offseason as it pertains to Dak Prescott for the Dallas Cowboys. But with all those players chirping in the background, are they going to have some kind of come to Jesus meeting in the locker room? Is there going to be a massive group text or dinner between these guys whose families have been taking shots? Or would a simple apology on a podcast get it done? We'll talk about it next, right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It is awesome to be home. San Antonio invited me in and embraced me. This is a market that means the world to me. I hate that I've been gone so long, but man, it feels sweet to be back.
It's the Jim Rome Show, back in San Antonio, weekdays at noon.
Hey, Jim Rome here.
Have a take, San Antonio, and certainly do not suck.
Wait, what? Ouch. Are you kidding?
It's the Jim Rome Show, weekdays at noon on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Jason Minix here. Guys, your testosterone levels start to decline in your 30s. If you're feeling a lack of energy and drive, it could be caused by low T. Get your levels tested at Synergenics. They make it quick and easy, and with the convenience of their on-site lab, you'll get your results back at your first visit. At Synergenics, you will get customized care from testosterone specialists. Conquer your New Year's resolutions. Go to fixmylowt.com to book online. That's fixmylowt.com.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Did you know some ordinary cold medicines can raise your blood pressure? That's alarming. Fortunately, there's Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. It's specially formulated without alcohol, sugar, or decongestants to provide fast, powerful cold and flu symptom relief for people with high blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure, try DayQuil High Blood Pressure, the daytime coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, colds, and flu for people with high blood pressure medicine. Use as directed and keep out of reach of children.
It
Ask the Pigskin for a chance to win $5,000 cash and tailgate prize packs. Celebrate with Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds by entering the Pork Rind Appreciation Day giveaway at porkrindappreciationday.com. That's porkrindappreciationday.com. And don't forget to pick up your favorite bold flavored protein packed Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds today at HEB.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-5795. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
In celebration of the 10th anniversary, Disney's Frozen is coming to podcasting with a brand new story. The Frozen podcast features Anna.
I want to know about that.
Elsa.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Olaf.
I don't get it.
And Kristoff.
Are we going on another adventure?
Oh no. Of course. Experience Disney Frozen Forces of Nature, available now on your favorite podcast app.
Get deals on what you need during MVP's bonus days at Lowe's. Right now, save $20 on select 5-gallon ceiling paint or primer by HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams. Plus, get 15% off and earn 3 times bonus points when you buy 4 or more Purdy products. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts of any. Valid 1/15 through 1/26. Subject to change.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting roles for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details.
Homeowners, this is not a drill. Do not put off replacing old, broken, drafty windows in your home one more day. Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies, can transform your home, fixing common issues like hot or cold rooms or sky-high energy bills. Renewal by Andersen's Fibrex windows and doors combine the strength and insulation of wood plus the low maintenance and durability of vinyl, guaranteed to never fade, flake, blister, or peel. These are truly your forever windows, backed by Renewal by Andersen's industry-leading warranty coverage. Just text WARM to 200-300 for your free consultation on top-quality affordable windows or patio doors for no money down, no payments, and no interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus, save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings are only in January. Text WARM to 200-300 right now. Text the word WARM to 200-300. Don't wait. Text WARM to 200.
Rudolph Gonzalez says players aren't chirping, it's the others. Well, it's the others, but those others are the families of the players, which makes it all the more interesting. If it was just other people chirping, no big deal. Talking heads chirping them all the time. You know, media's talking about them constantly, whether they should be paid, whether they shouldn't be paid. But when it's not just family members, it is family members of what you could say is the Trinity. the holy of the Dallas Cowboys. It is Dak Prescott, it is Micah Parsons, it is CeeDee Lamb. Those are the big three of the Dallas Cowboys. I look at it and it's just more nonsense that the Cowboys have to deal with that they shouldn't have to deal with. And if you listen this morning on Greeny, you heard Jeff Saturday and Dominique Foxworth talking about it in terms of the things that Dax had to deal with and how well he deals with those situations.
No.
Right? Like that's not okay.
And listen, it's hard enough to win in the NFL when everything is aligned. When you start having this type of dysfunction in your locker room, it dang near becomes impossible, right? And the higher the stakes of the game, the more these things kind of come to the head or boil up, however you want to frame it. And when the sad part is they were trying to run it back, right? They keep McCarthy. They're trying to keep Quinn in Howard. They're trying to keep this thing so they can run it all back. And you now you have 2 weeks out of the season, you got guys taking shots at, or not guys, but family members taking shots at this. There's going to have to be a meeting where they all get together and have these, hug it out type conversations. The problem for this is, when you start talking about, take less money, and Dak isn't the guy, you basically are both aligning that this guy isn't. So who's your guy? Like, he's going to have to leave a team because last time I checked, CeeDee Lamb had almost 140 catches, bro. He got like some kind of stupid numbers. His best year, right? Like, so that put that in context. Like, that matters because your next contract is directly reflected on what you just did and the potential to go do that again. Going somewhere else, you might not have that. You better be careful with the grass is always greener.
The saving grace for the Cowboys and all this is Dak Prescott.
Amen.
Has handled everything, and he's accustomed to this type of foolishness, and he's always handled it with class. But some might argue that he should snap on somebody somewhere along the line because this is absurd.
Yes.
They think my man Dak is soft, like just coming at him as if he wasn't the front runner for MVP at some point this season,
right?
And he hasn't been one of the best quarterbacks in football for the last decade or so.
Right.
Like it's outrageous and unfair and disappointing. But you're the quarterback of the Cowboys.
You know what's crazy? I'm glad you said that because here's the other part. When you think about the Lamar Jacksons of the world and the Dak Prescotts and the way they have handled different situations, and people talk about like leadership, that to me is like a signal, right? When people are like, not a good leader, okay, that's like a Captain Obvious, right? Okay, but when people say that, the way that each of these men, like the way that Lamar handled his contract issue, holy man, like he couldn't have minimized it more for the Ravens, right? And he's basically put up on the block of, hey, anybody wants our guy, come put an offer in. Mm-hmm. And the dude comes back and now is going to be the MVP or as the 1 seed. It's the way these guys can minimize distraction and allow their teams to continue to be successful. I'm letting you know, do not overlook that. That is leadership of an organization because it is a tough pill to swallow when folks coming at you and you know they got no reason to be coming at you. So tip of the cap to both of those guys.
Jeff Saturday, Dominique Foxworth talking about Dak Prescott and his compartmentalization of dealing with outside noise on the regular. And the noise just got louder to the point where his brother's talking about him. Micah Parsons' brother is talking about him taking less money, leaving money on the table, or else they're going to be packing their bags. And CD's mom obviously saying that he would be better in Houston with CJ Stroud because, in her words, Dak's not him. At least we haven't heard from Tab Prescott, but we're used to hearing from him. And we haven't heard from CD's mom in terms of any sort of retractions yet. But we did get one from Micah Parsons' brother, Terrence.
Oh, man. I just want to clear up that any comments that I do make are my own. Micah has nothing to do with any of that. He doesn't he doesn't give me any type of inside information or anything like that. He makes his own decisions. I make my own decisions. Anything I say should not be in any way put in his mouth. Other than that, like, people who want to twist my words up, I'm always going to speak the truth. I'm a real fan. I don't do any fair weather fans or anything like that. I don't hate on any of the players. No disrespect comes from my way. I just, you know what I mean? I point out the game film. I make my opinions. I make my comments, and that's all.
Yeah, nobody's twisting your words. They read verbatim what your words were, Terrence. You got heated and shot from the hip. Like, there's no construing words. It was text that was printed out. There was nothing out of context about it. But that's what it's like, which is why Jerry has to take time from the immediacy of the loss to step back and look at a 40,000-foot view of things. And I appreciate that he does things like that, because it allows him to try and see the bigger picture. Bigger picture was Dak Prescott had an MVP season in his first year, MVP caliber season. He is in the top 3 to 5 of the MVP voting. Mike McCarthy, same in his first year as a play caller. Run game didn't work. Stopping the run didn't work. Defense faltered down the stretch. But for the most part, is a third straight 12-win season. You had the number 2 seed. And everything you wanted laid out in front of you before you laid the eventual egg in the postseason. How do you overcome that? How do you get better from that? And the ability to run that back one more time and have Mike McCarthy earn said extension with playoff success this upcoming year, I think is going to be important. And it's going to be very interesting to see if they do the same thing with Dak Prescott or not this offseason. What say you? I saw Ron on the line a little bit earlier, wanted to ask me my thoughts on Trey Lance. If you want any more conversation, call back in, Ron. Trey Lance is a guy who there's just not a lot to know about. He is a huge prospect with massive upside and then very minimal starts within the NFL, and he was not active at all this year for the Cowboys. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they, in a cap casualty move on from Cooper Rush this offseason, and all of a sudden Trey Lance is your backup quarterback. And maybe then when you start to blow people out, you get to see some more of Trey Lance, or we'll get to see him at training camp this upcoming year up in Oxnard, California. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to put a bow on the show and get you ready for the Aggies as they get set to take on Missouri right here on San Antonio Sports Star. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure on 941 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's R&R in the morning.
Wednesday on R&R in the morning. The Spurs are home for a week or so, and they're welcoming in the other rookie. His name is Chet Holmgren. He ain't the star that we think he is, or is he? The battle in San Antonio. We'll talk about it.
The NFL coaching carousel continues to turn round and round and round. Plus, is this the worst Dallas Cowboys offseason ever? Only in its second week. Bring your coffee. We'll talk about it at 6.
It's your wake-up call. R&R in the morning, 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is
If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
Working from home, you realize you don't have enough outlets or USB ports. Hill Electric can fix that for you. For over 3 decades, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio homes and businesses. From adding an outlet, fixing that fuse that always blows, or that flickering light, Hill Electric has the right service at the right price, and there is never a service charge and always free estimates. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074. Or go to hill-electric.com.
You can make the decision right now to get lasting relief from that awful joint pain for 2024. Don't go another year compromising because of that pain in your knees, shoulder. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative non-surgical pain relief. Your body has what it needs to restore and repair that damaged joint tissue, and QC Kinetics can make it happen. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. The future of pain treatments has arrived, and QC Kinetics has tens and thousands of satisfied patients all over America. People with back pain, hip pain, any pain associated with arthritis or an injury. This is not a Band-Aid. This is a revolutionary treatment that can get you moving again, get you your life back. And best of all, it's non-surgical. If this is your year to decide to fight back against that pain, take the first step now and call QC Kinetics to get a free consultation on the calendar today. Call 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318. Locations in Hollywood Park, Westover Hills, and New Braunfels.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-384-1340. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-384-1340. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-384-1340.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
This is Jim Rome. Join me weekdays at noon on my new home, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back to Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate you spending your Tuesday evening with me. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, 7:30, we got the pregame for the Aggies as they get set to take on Missouri in College Station. 8 o'clock tip-off, 7:30 pre right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM and sasportstar.com. Your home for the Texas A&M Aggies. And right now at the half, currently up in Norman, Texas looking for their second straight win over a top 11 team. Trailing Oklahoma, 11th ranked Oklahoma, by 1, 33-32 going into the half. It's about the time. Last few weeks of the regular season. I got a week of dead period in the NFL. A lot of our focus is going to shift, whether that's to the NBA, college basketball, to the NFL draft season. We all have our WAPOs. Mine typically falls with the NFL draft. see, because the Dallas Cowboys, how do they improve a roster just simply by running it back? Or will there be some slight tweaks to it as we get closer to the start of the NFL year once this one comes to a close? That's going to do it for Extra Innings with Pleasure. I'm James Pledger. Thanks for joining me this evening on YouTube at SA Sports Star. Like, subscribe, follow along, and also don't forget you can always keep up with us at SA Sports Star on X and on Instagram, or on my extra Instagram at I Am Pledger.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9313. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt,